Hello, Facebook Live. Lindsay Price here, resident playwright for Theatrefolk. It's the evening, and I am talking about plays. These are brand new Theatrefolk plays, the links for which are up in the description. We have The Blue and the Gray by R.S. Paulette. We have Breathless by Wendy Marie Martin. And I think it goes backwards, yes, so I won't, there's no need for you to see that. And we have Clowns with Guns, a Vaudeville by Christopher Evans. If you are looking for a theatrical drama for your students, this is new stuff that hasn't been your environments haven't seen before. And what I love about each of these three plays is their theatricality. So I am going to do little dramatic readings from each of these. We have The Blue and the Gray. So the main character in this play is Charlie, and she is surrounded by ghosts. The ghosts of an estranged father who leaves her an antique musket. The ghost of a classmate's sister who cautions Charlie, the Gray will hear you. And who are the Gray? Ghosts of lost Confederate soldiers ambushed following the First Battle of Fredericksburg, 1862. We have ghosts. We have Walt Whitman. And that is how this play begins, with an amazing theatrical drumming moment. In the darkness, we hear student voices, like a chorus, and we also hear drumming, a Civil War era march beat on the top of school desks in the time and rhythm of the poetry. It is ethereal, haunting, an ocean in a seashell. Beat, beat, drums, blow, bugles, blow. Through the windows, through doors, burst like a ruthless force into the solemn church and scatter the congregation into the schools where the scholar is studying. Leave not the bridegroom quiet. No happiness must he have now with his bride, nor the peaceful farmer any peace, plowing his field or gathering his grain. So fierce you were and pound you drums, so shrill you bugles blow. So just imagine, this is the opening of your play. We have Walt Whitman's poetry, we have drums, we have voices, and it is an introduction to the world of the play. And then we meet Charlie. So my mother gave me a musket. I know, weird, right? And if I were Rachel, I'd probably be super into it. But this is me. And when she offered me this thing, it was wrapped in burlap, and she held it out to me gently, gingerly, swaddled in her arms. It's been sitting in the corner of our attic, forgotten for the last 14 years, she said. And Mom's recent cleaning binge turned it up, so she brought it down to me. I thought you might want it. Mom, really, what am I going to do? Defend the homestead? It's a musket, a Confederate antique that my father abandoned in the attic. Later that night, through the rain and the lightning, was the first time I talked to Anna, the kid who died 5 years ago out in the deep blue of the lake. And talking with Anna led to Darren and Rachel and the lake, which led to the Gray, to Uncle Walt, and the living, vibrant colors of the Aurora Borealis, and finally to the truth of it all. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, no, Mom called Rachel, and Rachel gave our number to some local reenactor who promised he would give the musket a good home. And that should have been that. But as I said, that night, a thunderstorm rolled in, and students start drumming on the desks. So this is like the beginning. This is the introduction to the world of the play. That's what I want to read for each of these plays. Is how do we get into the world of this play? And that is some incredibly theatrical, interesting questions come up. you know, who are the Gray? We know who the Gray are. And Anna, the kid who died 5 years ago. And the play just continues on from there and live up to its expectations of theatricality, of interesting characters going on a journey, more wonderful choral opportunities and rhythmic choral opportunities, which lead to an end, which is not your typical tie it up with a bow ending. Not a happy ending, although some characters end satisfied, which I think is lovely too. Okay, the blue and the gray are as palette. If you're looking for choral, if you're looking for theatricality opportunities with rhythm and speaking and characters who are who are flawed. It's a lovely opportunity. Okay, next, Breathless. So Breathless there are 3 great lead girl characters in this, and they're all named Summer. It's 3 girls named Summer, and each of them are on a race of discovery. Summer Adams is looking for love in all the wrong places. Wrong places. Summer Robertson is hanging on through her battle with cancer. And Summer Davis refuses to lose, even at the expense of her body and her friends. And if we just breathe, where will we go? Will we crash or will we fly? And breathing is so important. Just as drumming and the sound of what the sound on desks can make in the blue and the gray, it becomes drums, it becomes a thunderstorm, it becomes it becomes a crack in the lake, it becomes an emotional reaction. Here in Breathless, the group of actors becomes the breath. It becomes Summer Adams looking for love in all the wrong places, and what kind of breath that experience brings about. It's the breath of someone who is dying and it is gasping to stay alive. It is the breath of an athlete who is trying to get a time that is seemingly impossible. And the theatricality of that, how do we have that? All of the characters create this breath. So how do we enter the world of the play? How do we enter the world of the play of Breathless? In darkness, the entire cast begins to create a live canon of 3 types of heavy breathing. One reflects the physical exertion of a top runner, the last moment of struggling. Another, the last moment struggling to hold onto life. And the third, that of physical pleasure. The breathing stops as the school bell rings and Assistant Principal Howard's overenthusiastic announcement is heard. Good morning, Blazers! Assistant Principal Howard here to remind you to register for the upcoming SAT test. Keep on making good choices. Go Blazers! Allison hands a flyer towards Hunter. Hey, students, for good are raising funds to cover Summer Robinson's medical expenses. Who's Summer Robinson? Oh, she's in drama or something? That would be why we never heard of her. She's dying of cancer. Oh, well, that's too bad. I don't really know her, but yeah, me neither. But my counselor said organizing a fundraiser would look great on my college application. And cancer is important to fight. Yeah, sure. I'll give it to my mom. Thanks, Kyle. Oh, sorry to hear about you and, yeah, that didn't work. I'm here for you if you need anything. Kyle, hurry your ass up. Weight room. Yeah, thanks. Maybe some other time. Gotta go. So we're introduced, that is really interesting. I find it really interesting because we're introduced to a Summer with only hearing about her and not seeing her. We're introduced to Summer Robertson, who is the one who's dying. We are also introduced to all of the people around Summer Adams who are not a good influence on her and will take her down the wrong path. And when one of the characters says, "Sorry to hear about you and he's the one who went out with Summer Adams before the bad influence did." So that is we are introduced to breathing, and we were also introduced to characters, teenage characters, who are struggling with where they are, whether it's in what kind of relationship. And summer and all of the summers are in the middle of that struggle. Okay, so that is Breathless. And I have to tell you, my favorite, there's a wonderful moment. You know what? It's all this is a really great character piece. And it's not, I'll tell you this is something you need to know too, is that there are some mature moments, because that's what happens. There are mature moments that happen between teenagers. You can't whitewash it. But what I love is that it's necessary, because at the end of it, we see a character who comes out the other side and stands up for themselves. And I think that's really important for teenagers to see, characters standing up for themselves when they're not in a good relationship situation. Okay, Clowns with Guns. How do we get into this world? So this is a play that looks at school violence and school shootings. So that means there's guns. So if that puts you off, takes you out of the running, that's good to know. Good to know that it says clowns with guns. There are actually clowns with guns in the play. This is a play that looks at it's again theatrical. It looks at the issue of school shooting in a theatrical and absurd. And that is something that is, I think, hard for some people, because it's not drama, right? It's not, we're going to take this, and everyone's going to be realistic in their responses and their behaviors. And the playwright, who is a teacher, he's from Montana, and he performed this at his state thespian festival. Some people were excited by this play. The adjudicator who saw the play was very excited about it. Some people thought it had a really good message, and some people were very offended. And that is something, that was one of the, this is a issue which doesn't seem to be going away. It's not going away. And he was angry about it, and he wanted to, this is how he wanted to communicate his anger. And we wanted to support that. So there. And that it's really important to note that this is a story that is mean. That there isn't a happy ending. And it puts school shootings out in the open and forces conversation, which I think is what all issue plays should do. I'm not an advocate of issue plays coming up with a solution, because sometimes there is no one solution, and it's not. It trivializes an issue to say, and here's what you do. Because people are different. People react differently to all issues. But I do think that issue plays need to spark conversation, and that the epilogue of an issue play is not the last word of the play. It's the conversation that happens after the play is over. So how do we get into the world of Clowns with Guns? Okay. Circus music begins. 4 decorated elephant stands are seen empty on stage. Thoughts, a clown, and prayers, another clown, enter, meet center stage, and then see the audience. They shake hands and go their separate ways to start the show. One by one, Thoughts and Prayers brings the cheerleader, the stoner, the bully, and the shooter, places them on their respective elephant stands, and then leaves. A lineup of 3 people enter, the goobers. They scramble to see all of the exhibits as thoughts and prayers bring on the MC. They straighten his clothes, point him towards the stage, and then leave. The MC takes a grand step downstage and then, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the quick and the dead, I welcome you today to the greatest show on earth. Today we will find out the answer to the greatest question that can be answered. What's for dinner? No. What's on TV? No. Can I have that? No. Have what? Never mind. No, my friends, the question is, am I walking out alive today? It's school shootorama. This is where you, the honest customer, walk into your educational palace and hopefully come out with the greatest prize of all, your life. Gather round to see the freaks and geeks that populate every high school in the land. Meet the shooter. Whoo, so sad, so depressed. But so good with a gun. Watch him get his revenge on anybody or everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I produce the shooter. It's alive. All right. Again, there is no answer to this issue. It's the answer. The end is the conversation that comes after the issue is, after the play, after the issue is explored in the play. And I think it's really important to have pieces like this as we go down more and more road where we can talk about this stuff, right? When we go down a road where there isn't conversation. And if we have pieces of theater that can be put up to initiate conversation, I think that is something that's important. That's something that we can do, not just in theater, but in an educational theater context, right? We can talk about issues in the classroom, and we can present theatrical pieces that deal with tough subjects. Okay, so that is our new materials. The Blue and the Gray by R.S. Paulette. Clowns with Guns, a vaudeville. Christopher Evans. Yes, there's clowns. Yes, there's guns. No, you can't do it without the guns. And Breathless by Wendy Marie Martin. I love these plays. I love that. I love talking about them, and I shall see all of you again. Hopefully, fingers crossed, on Friday. I am going to be in California at a conference, and since it's me, Lindsay Price, resident playwright for Theatrefolk, is the one who does these. That all depends on what the whole internet situation is like. Connecting through the internet. It's a wonderful thing. All right. Go to theatrefolk.com. Go to the links that are in the description. You can read sample pages from all of these plays at the link. You can read up to 80% of our plays before you buy any of them. So you will know pretty darn well if this is something that's going to work in your school, if this is going to be something for you. All of the links, again, are in the description. And go and read each of The Blue and the Gray, Breathless, and Clowns with Guns. Theatrefolk.com. Links are in the description. Go read sample pages. Go buy perusal scripts. And I shall see you all soon.